Here we're going to talk about ways to edit the type in your Illustrator documents. One way to change the scale of the type very easily, although it would stretch it quite a bit, is to use the regular old selection tool. With the selection tool, you can click in any corner to scale the type, and you can also grab one of the middle ones to squash and stretch it. If you put your mouse on the end, you can rotate it. Let me undo some of that. Likewise, as long as the type is selected in some way, we can change the color. We can also, even with the selection tool, double click anywhere in our type to activate the type tool. So I can double click on the word talk, and there is the insertion point, and I can add more letters if I want to, or change the entire sentence. To select one word, double click on it. To select an entire sentence, triple click on it. To select an entire paragraph, or more than one group of sentences, click and drag your mouse to grab everything. We can also access our fonts and everything right from the character or paragraph styles up here in our options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have the type selected and click on character, and I can change the font, and if there's a style associated with it, I can change that as well. The style also appears in the character panel. So I can go ahead and choose something like Optima, and then move my mouse over and choose bold. And those styles, once again, are here for me, right in my character. I can change the font size. I can change the actual leading. And the leading is the space in between sentences. In most type magazines or newspapers or anything that you deal with that has type in it and is published, the rule of thumb is usually to have 2 points difference between the actual font size and the leading, which means that if my sentence is 10 points, then the leading should be 12. That gives you a nice readability to it. I can also work with something known as kerning, which is the spacing in between two characters, for example, the L and the K. Or I can work with tracking, and tracking will allow me to change the spacing in between selected characters. So the entire word talk, for example. I also have horizontal and vertical scale available, which will allow me to stretch out a sentence, or squash it up a little bit, and stretch it in the other direction vertically. Here, you see I can set the baseline shift. The baseline is where the type sits. So currently it's on 0, and I can move it in negative values as well as positive values, or put the baseline back at 0. I can also do an underline and strike through. A strike through is really handy when you want to convey to someone that this is not exactly what you want in the document, so the person can get rid of that sentence altogether if you want. We also have paragraph styles available to us. So we have our alignment. In this case, we're aligned left, aligned centered, aligned right, and we can also have our text justified. And we can choose whether or not we want to use hyphenation or not. So these are some of the ways you can edit the type in your Adobe Illustrator documents.